Hello, good morning. Very excited to record this video for you. I thought to switch things up a little bit in the mastermind and do you a video. I wanted to speak to what it takes to create transformational experiences for those who follow you, those in your community, those who look up to you, and those for whom you create mentorship or you deliver mentorship experiences, right? It's so important for us to give greater thought to how we show up for those that we have great influence over, who are following after us and hoping to grow as they follow. This is extremely defining, especially in our generation, just because, more than ever before, we are now in a knowledge era. People are seeking to grow, evolve, transform, and experience significant, changes in their lives. And they're many times looking for those that they can listen to. Some of you are operating within a coaching context strictly, but so many more of us are actually operating within a mentorship context. And so, whether you have a group of people that you speak to regularly, or you are deploying one-on-one strategies to grow others, or it's just just informal and as it comes, it's still important for you to recognize the things you should be thinking about if you're going to be able to really help people grow and if you're going to be able to mentor them in a way that produces results, whether it's for 3 months or it's for 3 years or it's even a longer term relationship. And so I have 7 questions that I would love you to always ask, or 7 questions I would love you to ask in the course of this week as you begin to rethink how you deliver mentorship and how you create transformational experiences for those who follow you, listen to you, and belong to your exponential inner circle. Okay, so I've got 7 questions. Ultimately, I will share with you an acronym that will help you remember. But I'm not going to give you that acronym yet because I want to follow a logical sequence, and the acronym doesn't follow that logical sequence. But when I'm done, I will happily share that with you just so that you never forget and so that you can go back and work with it, okay? So I want you to go ahead and ask yourself 7 questions, just so that you are thinking about your mentorship in a way that can produce rare level possibilities for others in the shortest amount of time. The first question I would love you to ask is the question of context. The question of context. And this question simply says, what would I have wanted at this age or stage of my life? So if you are able to categorize the people that you are reaching out to, or the greater percentage, if you're able to profile the greater percentage of the people that you are mentoring or who come to you most frequently for guidance, or if you even have a more structured community, so the profiling is even easier. You've got data to prove who belongs to your community. Then you should be asking, what would I have wanted at this age or stage of my life? So you think about the people in your community, and you sort of create a data-driven understanding of where they are. Are they young, unmarried? Are they young married mothers, or are they unmarried women in their 30s? Are they career professionals within the first 7 years of their career? Are they people in oil and gas who are grappling with, the challenges of a male-dominated environment? Are they spiritual people who are seeking to grow their relationship with God, and you're sort of building a discipleship relationship? Whatever it is, you've got to ask yourself, step back a bit and think about them and say, when I was at this stage or age, because ideally you should be mentoring people who are in a stage or age or season of life that you have gone through and can use the power of vulnerable wisdom to sort of guide them about how to make the best of that season. And if that is the case for whatever mentoring context you are building, then you get to ask this very important question of context. You ask yourself, what would I have wanted what would I have needed? What sort of insights would I have required? What sort of support would I have desired? And what would I have been looking for at this stage of my life, at this age of my life? And it doesn't mean you're going to have all the answers or you have to use everything you said you would need in that relationship with others, but it's just important for you to begin to see from where they stand and begin to put in the right context. It's going to make you more compassionate. It's going to help you as answer the right questions for them, provide the right kind of resources. And a layer onto the question of, or the context question, is also to sometimes go ahead and have that conversation, even with the people, to say, in this stage of life, what is important for you and what would you really love me to show you? But I want you to be the one asking yourself this first, because sometimes people don't know what they really need, to thrive in this season of their lives. The second question I want you to be asking is the perception question. In this question, you're sort of checking to see, how do these people see me and what do they see in me? How do they see me? And this is just to regulate what their expectations might be of what is possible within that mentoring relationship. So people gravitate toward us because of their perception of us. And I use this a lot to filter who should actually get into a mentoring relationship with me. And even sometimes who should get into a coaching relationship with me. This question helps you clarify if there is a mismatch or not in terms of the perception and the view that the other person has of you, because their view and their perception of you impacts on what they expect to get from that relationship. So you want to ask the perception question, which is the second big question you've got to be asking if you're going to be able to deliver exponential experiences and transformation to those in your community and those that seek out a mentoring relationship with you. So you've got to be asking the perception question: how do these people see me, or how does this person see me, and what do they see in me? What do they think I'm able to offer? If a person believes that you are able to help them in a way that you don't feel wired to or you don't want to, that is going to really create a tension or a friction in the course of that relationship, because they're going to have unmet expectations. Unmet expectations create disappointments. Disappointments create bitter energy. Bitter energy is not good for you and it's not good for the person or the people as well. So you've got to ask the perception question and ensure there is no mismatch between who you are and how the other person is perceiving you. Number three, you want to ask the service question: how best do I share my wisdom? How best do I give of myself? How best do I show up? And this is so important so that you do not template how you were mentored on others. So, for example, my best mentorship experiences are usually either primarily in a group setting, followed by in one-on-one settings, and then in larger groups, right? So my best mentoring experiences actually happen when I'm in a room with 2 to 5 people or max of 10 people. And in that camaraderie and the energy, the positivity, the questions and the answers and learning from one another is where I feel people draw the best from me personally, followed by a one-on-one. Sometimes I find one-on-ones stressful if I'm meeting a person for the first time, or if I do not feel like I really want to be in the room with any other person because I am such a, you know, what's the word here? I love to be by myself. And so I recognize that there are some times that I find one-on-one experiences stressful or too much in my space. But I never feel that way in a room with 2 to 5 people, because I feel like the attention is not all on me. It's shared across everybody in the room. Do you see? I also know that I would rather write than speak. And many people don't know this about me. When I am writing, I feel like I pour out a very different degree of my wisdom. The only thing that I enjoy about speaking is the energy comes through and the spirit comes through. You can't miss the intention behind what I'm sharing with you, or the energy and the pump that I want to give to you from that experience. But it's important for you not to template how you want to lead others with how you have been led in the sense of a mentoring relationship. So this is where we ask the question: how best do I share my wisdom and how best do I show up? and you want to begin to use your own strongest service pathways and template that, or apply that in your mentoring relationships. When we serve from where we are strongest, we're definitely able to do better for those who come to us and who seek to be influenced by us. The fourth question I would love you to be asking is the vulnerability question. In the vulnerability question, you ask yourself, to what degree am I willing to give access to my story, my life, and my journey? To what degree am I willing to give access to my life, my story, my journey? This is so important because mentorship is not Google and go. It's not just, putting things together and having somebody else just learn from them, hoping it makes a difference. Of course, it's important to layer mentorship with resources that validate and give credibility to the insights you're sharing and teaching. But people came to you because of you, and they want to draw from your life story, from your experience, from your journey, from your growth. And sometimes it's because they've actually seen your growth curve and the trajectory of your own transformation. And that's why they come and they say, whatever is working for you, I want some of that. And that is why it's important to never forget that when it comes to mentorship, the best of us is given in a vulnerable exchange where you're willing to show a part of your life and a part of your journey, just to validate and give credibility to some of the insights that you teach and you show others. Okay, so you've got to ask yourself, what will violate my privacy? What do I feel is a boundary I don't want to cross? And you want to be upfront about that privately and determine your stance concerning that. True mentorship, the type that creates change, requires a degree of vulnerable exchange of life, of your journey, of your story. And that is why it's important to ask this fourth question and be clear about how far you can go. And that's why you've got to ask the question, to what degree am I willing to give access to my life, my story, and my journey? And that's the vulnerability question. Or number five is the transformation question. The transformation question. And this is where you ask yourself with every new significant mentorship relationship, and when you are reviewing even an existing mentorship relationship, you begin to ask, what is the greatest outcome I am willing to create for this person? And the transformation question is also connected to what their own expectations are, or what you understand to be the gap that is occurring in their lives. One of the ways that you can accelerate your mentorship results is to understand the evolution gap that your audience or a particular mentee has in their lives. So the moment you see the evolution gap, i.e., the journey between where they are and where they would love to be, or where you believe they can be based on the potential that you've seen, you then begin to ask yourself the transformation question. What will be the one, two, or three big things that I really want to see happen in this person's life? This is the way that you can create a customized learning path. This is the way you can create a customized mentorship path for a mentee or a community that comes to you. So you've got to ask this fifth very important question, the transformation question. What are the greatest outcomes I desire and I believe that I can create for this person or this group? That will help you really from the beginning see the end, even if it's just a 3-month relationship. And you can use this even with your employees, your associates, right? And those that work with you or serve your vision with you, because they also want to receive that value of a mentorship relationship many times from you. So you've got to ask yourself the transformation question at number 5. At number 6, you want to ask yourself the very important question of accountability. It's the accountability question. And I feel like this is the one thing I often see making a big difference when it comes to the opportunity to deliver value for others within a mentorship or even a coaching context, even with discipleship, equipping, right? All of those things that make you a knowledge leader and help you transfer knowledge to deliver transformation. So this is the accountability question. How would I test that they are using this mentorship experience to grow and to create change in their lives? How would I test that, right? And without accountability, you're not going to be able to tell if there's a conversion. of, of the wisdom you're sharing into their own life situations, and if they're pressing or they're pushing forward to stretch and to grow. So you've got to institute some degree of accountability and a feedback loop, a system that allows you track their growth if you're really going to put them under the creative pressure that helps them to grow. And so you've got to ask the question, how would I or how am I testing to see, that they're using this mentorship experience to grow their lives or to grow their careers, whatever it is you're working with them on. And the final question here is the question of value, the value question. And this is where you're asking, what are they willing to commit in exchange for my mentorship? What are they willing to commit in exchange for my mentorship? That's the value question. And this is a question that I didn't learn to ask for many years. And so I had time wasters in a previous season of my life, maybe before the last 5 years, who I was pouring a lot into, but the value was not commensurate. I was giving value, but I wasn't receiving value. And this is not to say that people have to pay you for a mentorship experience, but if you organize it in a way that they should pay you, then go ahead and charge for it. And don't forget that you can use these 7 questions even within a book writing context. Don't forget, you can use it within a mastermind context, right? You can use it within a pastoring, spiritual mentorship context. And you can even use it within your leadership in your organization or with your team members. And so when we talk about the value question, what are they willing to pay? What are they willing to put down in exchange for this value? What are they willing to commit in exchange for this value? It's not always money. In fact, many times it's just about that commitment to show up, to invest time, or to exchange their service, to dive on board and participate in your own vision so that they even see you in a context of vision and work, and they can even learn that way. But it's all about showing up and the determination to ensure that they're putting to use the value that they're receiving in that relationship. Okay, so we've covered the question of context, the question of perception, the question of service, the question of vulnerability, the question of transformation, the question of value, and the question of accountability. So for the sake of an acronym, you know that I love acronyms. I've got PAST CV square, PAST CV, PAST CV, P for perception, A for accountability, S for service, T for transformation, V for value, um, V for vulnerability, the first V for value, the second V for vulnerability, and then you have PAST CV square, okay? But don't forget that these 7 questions can help you strengthen how you deliver transformation for those who come to you, who look up to you, who belong to your community, and who are seeking to grow as they connect with you and the great work that you do. I'm super proud of you, and I can't wait to hear from you about what struck you and which of the questions you used before, the ones you're going to start to use, and when you're going to take an overall mentorship audit to test how you're doing with the great work of serving others and helping them close their evolution gap. Okay, so I'll see you in the mastermind, and have yourself a beautiful day.